health is concerned, I look back on it now. I do remember where uh, I witnessed the a thunder and lightning striking a man right in front of me, and I was in the Saguan in the just in a garden area, and I always remember that, and that's one of my earliest memories. So, health and the death of somebody that got their life taken by the natural force, I remember very, very vividly. We moved from Durango, and also Durango is very much known for um, the scorpions or los alacranes. And alacran from Durango, when it stings, it's a fatal sting many times. And that's because of the iron and the chemical makeup they have for the poison that when they do strike. I moved to Tijuana, and in Tijuana, I turned three and almost 4 years old. And during that time, there were also health issues that my mother faced, I faced, that we all faced. We lived in the Rios there in Tijuana, so we had a very challenging life. And my father was a hard worker. But having been a bracero, there was a provision in the law that allowed a bracero to be able to regularize their status in the U.S. to become a permanent resident alien, whatever that means. So we stayed there in Tijuana for 1 year, and I became I turned 5 years old when I came across San Isidro and into California, and then I was raised in California. I still live here, and I've gone through a number of stages. The first place we lived was in Santa Barbara, California, and at that time it was just barely coming out of the segregated schools. I don't know if people were aware. This would be in about 1951 that the schools in Santa Barbara here in Oakland, in many parts of Alta California, as well as parts of the other parts of the nation, worse even other parts of the nation, but it was here too. There were segregated schools. So before me, uh, they just stopped sending people to the Mexican schools. They allowed them to go to the other schools. So if you ever want to find out where the most black and brown kids in a neighborhood, ask for a Lincoln High School, Lincoln School. So I went to Lincoln School, and they said, "Well, you can't speak the language, can you?" Oh, no, of course not. And even in first grade, I still didn't speak the language. So in first grade, they decided that I had the same problem that my parents had, which they can't speak the language. So there's got to be something wrong. So even the label isn't used that much anymore, but it still exists. I was considered retarded. So I was retarded and did a second year of first grade. But then I moved, and I moved to a school district. They didn't know I was retarded, quote unquote, retarded. And I was a very good student. I continued to be a good student throughout all those years in that small town. And this town is called Tehachapi, California. It's near La Paz, which is where the headquarters of the United Farm Workers is now. It used to be when I was growing up, it was Keene, and they had a tuberculosis facility there. That was what maintained that little town. And then the land that was owned by somebody that I think was in Hollywood that owned the land donated it to the farm workers. So I went to that, then graduated, and I went to UC Santa Barbara. And UC Santa Barbara, I was told then by my counselor, though I had some really good teachers that were not racist, basically, to put it simply. They wanted you to learn and to you know be as good a person as you could possibly be. But I had counselors that would tell me, well, why do you think you can do well at UC when University of California when all of our, even our best students don't make it there. Well, I thought I was the best student. That put me in my place, and I think we've all had an experience where you get put in our place many times. So, as a quote unquote imposter, I went to UCSB, and at the time, and I think this is important perhaps for other questions that you might have, there were no Mexicans enrolled that would identify as Mexicans, and there certainly were no groupings. So you would say that UCSB in 1965, there was zero, one Mexican that identified. This is a campus then of about 14,000 students. And everybody thought it was a party school. So if you go there, and it still is a party school, actually, but it's also distinguished itself in other ways. And okay, I will mention we organized. There were enough of us to organize, and we created the United Mexican American Students Organization. That was when I was a junior, going my end of my sophomore year, going into my junior year, and I met a number of people from throughout the state that were part of the movement, and the movement was the Chicano movement. We were enough that there were a number enough of us to be able to form an organization and to make our needs known, and also demand that we get the respect that we needed and we thought we weren't getting adequately. Which is not to say that it was a totally bad experience where we were not succeeding. Many of us were succeeding, but we weren't really recognized. And so, out of that movement, we finally decided we become more assertive of our identity to demand what we wanted and needed, which is more students. So we went out and recruited students. We had the educational opportunity program. It was fairly new, and it began to concentrate on bringing uh, not only African Americans but also Mexicans and a lot of other people. And so we finally got organized to where we formed my senior year, which was a very tempestuous, very. This is the time of civil rights movement. This is the time of worldwide things were in going through change for lots of reasons. Um, the church was changing. Pope John the 23rd had the Vatican Council, for example. So the church was changing. Yeah. The Olympics in 1968 in Mexico City, the the runners that put their arms up to this racism will stop, and they pay a price for that, but they they asserted themselves. So we assert ourselves, and we demanded an admission at UCSB of 500 Chicanas, as well as Chicano Studies and the Chicano Studies um, uh, Center that was able to create research programs and do other things that it's done all the way along to the present. And as a matter of fact, UCSB now is one of the only universities that has a Chicano Studies PhD. And I remember it was when that happened. Dolores Huerta was the keynote speaker, and but we went a long ways. And but in that year, we didn't go that. We were just. It was rhetoric, and in a way, it was rhetoric. But we were writing things down that we thought we needed, and all the campuses throughout CSUs, the UCs, and so forth established programs and began to do things that they hadn't done before. And we had a group gathering called the Plan de Santa Barbara. And for those that haven't seen it or whatever, there were debates between people about some people were more third worldish like, and other people were more nationalistic and so forth. But we knew that we wanted much better for our people and that they were not being respected and were being left out. So that document and that set of discussions and that whole movement So Chicarum is what made me want to do what I had to do.